Hey, everybody. Welcome to another week, another episode of the Road to 150. With me is my co host, the owner of the channel, the ever so dope Hope, and of course, the one leading for the day when it's not a Tuesday or a Saturday. Peng Spix, as you know me on Twitter, also known as Davis Peng, or Jumanji202 on Underdog. Probably should get a better name. Hope, how are you doing?
I'm good, Davis. I'm good. A little bit of a slow week as far as NFL news goes, but got a few drafts in here or there when I can. In the SuperFlex, kind of slow rolling it at the moment, but yeah, no, it was a good week overall. Masters week for us golf fans out there. Best week of the year. Absolutely electric today. Golf going on, so that was a good time, and I'm excited for the next 3 days of that for sure.
You have a lot of friends that actually do golf, like our buddy Preston and James and yourself, obviously, and a
Numi,
couple of the badge bros are like heavy into golf. And I think you guys are dominated this week, right? And like the
yeah,
three
Numi
part or
and
whatever
yeah,
event it
yeah,
is.
Numi and yeah, James or Eagles if you don't know him as his first name. Yeah, dominated today's contest. So exciting stuff. I'm excited. I'm gonna hop in some of those drafts for tomorrow's later. There's crazy weather expected there, but yeah, no, a lot of golf this week for me.
It makes sense. I mean, we're in Superflex, and I won't speak for the community, but I do know that a lot of other talking heads have already said that Superflex isn't their favorite, but it is a draft nonetheless. We're just gonna pass time with it. And you know what though? It also kind of sets you up and opens our minds to different ways of thinking. I know Pete made weeks after the last week or two talking about like just as another way to think about things, and he talks about taking like why am I taking Deshaun Watson and Dak Prescott round seven, round eight guys in round one and passing up on John Archer,
Right.
CMC, and you know what? Fair point. It makes you think a little bit differently about drafting in the future. So as much as you may not like Superflex, it opens your mind to different ways of playing the game. So
Yeah.
without further ado, let's get ready for some drafting.
Yeah. Let's hop in. I'm excited. We haven't drafted Superflex together yet at all, so
No, it's been
I'm
painful.
excited to get your takes on it. See how we differ on picks. This will be fun. Oh yeah, nice. We need 8. Everyone hop in. Let's go.
No, don't hop in. I don't need people sniping me. Everyone stay on the sidelines. Hang out. But no, it's tough. I don't think there's a right way to play Superflex. Honestly, I even said I thought I did bad last year, and I guess I did okay. Um, but one major change, and I know a lot of people have said, "Oh yeah, I had 30% advancement. I had high percentage." I'm like, just a reminder, guys. It was 3 advancement last year. This time it's 2 advancement this year, but 2
Oh really?
advancement per playoff round. So there's going to be a huge change. You're not going to get those average 30 percenters, 25% advancements like we were getting last year. So
Right. Yeah, that is a huge change. It's something I honestly, like we always say, read the rules. I didn't do that, so I didn't realize it at first. But yeah, that's a huge thing there.
yeah,
All right,
so
we got
on
the
average,
5. Let's
most
go.
people did get 30% because it's 3 out of 12, right? If you were advancing
Yeah.
averagely, that's what you're getting at. So it's something to think about, something to remember, above 25%. So you're a little bit ahead of the curve. Not to down anybody, but good stuff to remember about. Man,
Vince
you guys
is
are popping in the chat.
Vince
So
scrambling to the bank.
Ben's here, Steph's here,
We
Josh
got
here.
Steph in the draft. We got Vapor in the draft. Let's see. We got anyone else?
Oh, cool. We're in the top 5. I'm cool. I'm happy with this.
Yeah.
Thank God, not the back end.
Yeah, we can get quarterback going.
Ugh. You know what sucks though? It's almost like top 3 or bust.
Yeah.
And probably that's something that people have commonly said, but I think we all knew that from the get go. And I don't want to say that, oh, that's untrue, because no, that is true. It's top 3 or bust. These guys, Hurts, Allen, and Mahomes. I mean, they're it, right? What do you think?
Yeah. Oh, I agree. There's definitely a top 3 tier. And to not get one of those picks is tough, but you can still build a really good team without it. But it's definitely a tier. I mean, it's the same we see it in the standard drafts. There's a tier, of where those guys go. They're in the second round,
Oh,
you know.
Mahomes in the third,
It's the
Allen in
third
second.
slot.
Very
That's
interesting.
this is actually the order I would draft it in.
Really, I still
Yep.
take Allen. I think every time.
It would I would be
So
her.
who's
Yeah,
your
well,
four
her.
five then? Oh, cool. We get oh, dude, I gotta take Burrow. I
Yeah,
gotta
it's
take
Burrow
Burrow.
for sure.
I would say after Burrow that I do love Justin Herbert as a 5. Although I wasn't high on Herbert in
Eric, you got a back end
actual
pick.
league board, I will say that I think with the new offensive coordinator, that there's a good chance that Herbert really, gets it going. Maybe they don't do checkdowns this year.
Yeah, I'm excited about Herbert. I took him a little bit in the big board,
Yeah.
but I like
I didn't take a lot of them, but
with
that's
this
just because fourth, fifth round
flex.
stuff.
Yeah, with it being super flex though,
Oh yeah,
there's a chance Chase falls to us. It's unlikely, but a small chance. And then there's T, of course, an easy stacking partner that we can probably get if we want him at this next pick, or maybe even the pick after, given the fact that it's super flex. But
I'm
yeah,
sorry for you back end guys. I really am. It's not fun. I
No.
live in the 110 to 112 for the last like 7 of my drafts.
And you are ripping these then. You've already got 7. Oh, sorry. So yeah, so how heavily are you firing? That's what I was trying to ask you.
I'm a little under 20. I fired a lot more on day 1. I kind of did like my first 10, and I was thinking about heading more. Superflex is not my thing. I will probably finish with 30 to 40 drafts just to see what I average, and I like the advance rates a lot. But noticing that how ADP has shifted already very hard, and I might cancel down to 20 to 30 drafts. What about you?
Yeah, we talked about it in our discussions. I'm not the biggest Superflex fan. I'm probably going to be around that 20 number and just kind of getting my toe at it. Because I went hard at it last year, which was really didn't advise. Like, I think I did 100 in the puppy Superflex. And I mean, my advance rate was, I think, like 11%. Like, it was bad, really, really bad. And so I want to learn the game, though. I want to keep, trying. And if they do another puppy Superflex, I'll probably go harder at that one. But I'm kind of using this one as more of a learning one to take in ideas from, and as well as, kind of hone in my personal strategies and what I like in Superflex. And, I talked about this a little bit on Tuesday. Sometimes it's good to like get kind of that mental break a little bit. We just fired so many drafts at the big board.
I want to grab a position. I think I think Eckler, AJ Brown, CD Lamb if he's there. What do you think? I mean, you're highlighting quarterback.
I mean, I'm fine with any of these receivers as well. I mean, I like the quarterback, but I'm good with Diggs or AJB.
I would grab AJB, I think.
Okay, I'm down with that. I'm good with both of those.
I think we have to play for position. I know it's tough.
Yeah.
It's a very tough one to hop into and not want to grab that second QB.
Yeah, well, the reason, I'm highlighting Daniel Jones, this is another thing we wanted to touch on tonight is some stacks that we like and some teams we like drafting. For me, Daniel Jones and the Giants are one of them. And, this is a little bit to do with Superflex, but still, like, talking back about, regular drafts, 18-round drafts coming up, when you can get Daniel Jones, mid rounds, and then all of his pass catchers except Waller go after him. And it's so easy to like throw, tack on a giant late. If you miss on one, there's 3 or 4 others that you can look at. So the Giants are a team for me. And Daniel Jones with the rushing upside he showed that I want a lot of this year.
No, I mean, that's a good point. And I know what part of the reason this talk button even came up, I remember we were talking about this earlier today, was that Mike Leone put this amazing chart, the master of the charts, master of data, one of the best guys from ETR, best guys in general, but from ETR, was like, hey, you kind of want to get some stacks, maybe not full on super stacks, right? Quarterback receiver, and a secondary weapon, and then possibly a bring back or just a quarterback receiver and a bring back.
All right, what do you think here? I kind of want to get Kirk. I think that.
Cut Cousins. Yeah. He said cut Cousins.
Oh no, sorry. I might have pronounced Kirk weird. I meant to say Kirk Cousins. I combined his first and last name there.
But like I said, like Mike Leone made a good point about taking that kind of that type of players, right? Like you want to get some kind of bring back. Right now, since we don't have week 17, there is no bring back, so we're hoping on division games in week 17.
Yeah.
And, like the Giants is a good one because you said like they're for a quarterback that's going as early as he is and his weapons going so much later. That's great value. I think we saw this last year with like the opposite where Kirk, Justin Jefferson is going super early, and then every other weapon was going in the dead rounds, and Kirk was going like round 11, right? Like you get that value for that. My picks for team I like to draft. Weirdly enough, it's Russell Wilson. I think he's a little undervalued at the moment. I feel like he's going to play out in these games where he has shootouts. And it's possible. Like he showed it last year that he was having these games where he was having 200 to 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, was getting a little bit better, getting over his injuries, getting used to the crappy offense, of Nathaniel Hackett. And he started to show that a little bit. But he's being drafted like, quarterback 17, 18. So in Superflex, if I can get Russell, if I'm stuck where, pick 11 is where he has Jamar Chase, CMC, and he got Derek Carr. But if he could have got Wilson right there, he can get Judy later and just get this amazing stack. And I would have been super happy with it. I actually drafted that today. So I love that. If Sutton stays, if Dulcich, if, the other tight end they have there kick it off, like you actually can get these guys all relatively.
You going back in on Alberto?
I was never in on Albert O, but like if I had to, we don't know a lot.
Yeah.
Boom. Look at that fun stack that pick 11 space has while having strong positions. So I like those. And obviously Derek Carr knows my love for, Saints Carr right now. So that's how I look at it. Who's your other team that you thought you were probably into?
The Dolphins. I'd like to what?
As a Patriots fan, can you say that?
I can. Yeah, I don't let my bias get to me too much in these, but no, I mean, it's just because you can get both pass catchers and still get the quarterback, which is becoming harder with the elite guys,
Yeah.
And like it's so tough. Like you have to double tap your round 1 and round 2 pick with some of the super elite guys. But I love the Dolphins. The stack fits so naturally of getting, Tyreek in the first and Jalen Waddle in the second. And then Tua's way down the board. Like that stack, we saw like how good its ceiling is last year. And I'm ready to ride back with the Dolphins this year. Obviously, there's questions with Tua's health, but when you're making a bet on the Dolphins, you should make that bet on Tua. And I know sometimes you even take 2 pass catcher or 2 quarterbacks from the Dolphins.
We can take the stack. I think we got
to.
Right?
We can't
do that.
We can't read those charts and then not stack it up.
Yeah. So, and obviously I love Tua. I think Tua. The thing about Tua, I like him most is that he doesn't have to put a lot of effort to get a lot of relevancy.
Yeah.
He has the 2 yak, technically 3, most yak receivers possible and a head coach that wants to get yak, that wants to just be like, can we just get this drive done in like 2 receptions, that kind of situation. Right. And that works. And Tua thrives on the small guys in red zone too. It's not bad. So I'm excited for it. I think that's a correct way to look at it. It's like, if you like Tyreek Hill, if you like Waddle, you kind of have to like Tua. It's very rare where you can like both weapons and hate the quarterback. And then, within
it just doesn't make sense. And that's the thing. Like, I think you picking 2 players from a team and not taking their quarterback, like I do think there's times when you have to reach to force that stack, because I know people like to let the stuff come to them because people are going to get better value because they waited. I just don't necessarily believe in that as fully as some people like to take it with the value stuff. Like it is super important in spots, but if you're making a bet on Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle in the same draft, I am totally fine reaching around on Tua. Like at that point, like, because if you get to week 17 with both of those guys, there's and they go off and you don't have Tua, like there's a really good chance someone else is going to, and he's going to be the quarterback you want. Obviously, you can play out scenarios where, they score on end arounds or handoffs or something crazy. But
my boy, we get my boy.
Your boy Mike Williams, your boy DJ Moore. Najee.
Why you gotta be such a dick? My boy. We need a running back. We settled with your 2 quarterback, 2 receivers.
That's fine. I'll give you that. I know we got the volume argument there.
Well, not just that, but we have to fill the roster. I would say in Superflex a little bit more.
Yeah, it's more important. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to have your roles. You got to get the guys that get you points every week. You got to have a little bit of balance. And there's not many weapons, I think, here, short of TJ Hawkinson, that would have really upped our points on paper, right? Like, I don't think Hawkinson puts up what he does last year, but if you had to guess, kind of situation.
Yeah, But the stack there was very enticing. But I'm kind of with you that like tight end I feel like also is a slightly undervalued because it's not usually not ever going to be in your flex and super flex more
I'm
often than
very
not.
interested in what pick 11 does. This is actually his team is cool. I actually
Can
like
you
his
pick
team a
it?
lot.
I think we should consider our third QB too coming back around here, unless you want to do the super late stuff.
It depends on who's comes around. There's a couple of people I've kind of rolled my mind a little bit better on. Just understanding that the third quarterback is very nice to have, depending on who it is, and the upside guys, right?
Yeah.
Now that Derek Carr has moved up, hella rounds, you can't, there goes one of them, Anthony Richardson. Is very interesting. It's like I said,
Yeah, I
it's a
don't
tough
know.
call.
Looking back, maybe we should have just taken Hawkinson and got the stack. But we can find. I mean, we're gonna really need to prioritize KJ Osborne though, because like I believe in stacking obviously to the max, or not to the max of like 3 or 4 players from the same team. But it's super important to win in week 17.
I also think it's just a tight end is a little rough to grab that early. I mean, like even in real life, I would never, in regular drafts, I would probably never grab TJ ahead of Mark Cooper. You
They
know what I
just
mean?
use them so much though. Like
Oh yeah, I love the guy from last year. I had plenty of them, but there's a difference between round 4, round 5 value and round 7, round 8.
there is, but I don't know. I think he could continue the play he had last year and have that good of a season. But we'll see.
Oh, coming back. The stack recommendation.
All right.
So
This is a tough spot. I'm not in love with anyone here.
I know that Dalvin Cook has had some good news lately. I would maybe take him.
I don't mind Aaron
I've come,
Jones either.
huh?
Aaron Jones as well. Which I know the AJ Dillon stuff is tough.
Yeah. I think I'm swinging on either Dalvin Cook, DJ Moore, and Jimmy G. Like the top 3 guys are those top 3 guys I like.
Let's go DJ Moore. I don't think we've picked him as a team yet. I like that pick. Thanks for Cooper. Yeah. We got you.
We got you, man. Don't you worry. But yeah, I mean, this, I do talk about like the back end stack because most of us and everyone I've know on Twitter right now is like, I'm pick 10 to 12. Like all of us are unanimously pick 10 to 12. So I have to pretend like I gotta learn how to draft from there. It's easy to draft from 1 through 3. You're just like, I take one of those 3 quarterbacks and then I kind of autopilot and dominate. Like it's an advantage.
That's a really good team. But yeah.
Tila, oof.
Let's see.
Right, so we come back around. It's gonna be interesting. Oh, we stole DJ Moore from Stat. Oh, forgot.
Oh no, Steph. Sorry. Oh no, I didn't realize you had Justin Fields.
I forgot you took it at 4. I thought we were on the comeback around. But if you guys haven't known, like Dalvin Cook has had some pretty good news recently, and
I mean, it kind of goes to our stack too. Like team stacks make sense.
I was just thinking more in the sense of just in the future. If he stays at value this year, like I'm already trying to pre-plan myself to have like 3 receivers into Najee Cook, and be so happy really about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do worry a little bit about that situation there. I mean, I know they didn't give Madison a ton of money, but it was a pretty good contract for a backup running back.
And also the Cooks trade rumors too, right? Like that's also a big deal. And it's always something that we should keep in the back of our minds to ensure that we know this coming into it. But if you're trying to go 3 receiver and play double upside, like I don't think it's any worse than 3 receiver Dalvin Cook, Najee Harris kind of situation. For future drafts that are non-SuperFlex, obviously. We have to grab a quarterback.
Yeah, I did not mean to do that. That's our bad. I didn't even realize.
She knew.
I didn't know.
She's
I realized. You can tell I haven't done it as many of these because I didn't know like Justin Fields is the auto 4.
She's like, I have to have the stack and nobody else.
All right, just go and grab him.
Yes.
Yeah. Look, patience paid off. We got to snipe Stephanie and get Dalvin Cook.
A lot of these great like running backs here though. Like
I thought you were gonna take Dalvin there, Stephanie.
Dobbins, that's my guy.
Let's see.
So, what else is there going on these days? So the NFL draft we got in a couple of weeks, which until then it's going to be news about Lamar and Aaron Rodgers. But I have a feeling I think Aaron Rodgers gets traded at draft night.
A draft night? I can see that. Yeah, me and my friends were actually discussing the whole trade last night, and the leverage that both sides have, and it obviously does feel like the Packers have a lot of it. I still think it's such an untenable situation that like they have to do something. So there will be movement. Like I don't see them just being like, all right, well, yeah, you can just sit on the end of the bench for the Packers next year. Like that's just not going to happen. But we'll see. What do you think he goes for in a trade?
I think the ideal is when he goes for 2 seconds.
2 seconds. I know they have 42 and 40. This was kind of our big argument last night. Is my friends think they're going to end up being able to get a first out of it.
It's possible they could get a first. I don't know if they get a first and a second, but they might get a first. Maybe a first and a second. I mean, if you're the Jets, you're just trying to do what the Rams did and what Tampa did, right? Get the Hall of Fame quarterback to your team. What you think you may think about Stafford.
Matthew Stafford. We put Matthew Stafford in the Hall of Fame.
No, but some people, like I could see
a really good veteran quarterback. Like
yeah, right. But you're getting this guy and trying to win a Super Bowl, right? Like the Jets really need this. Anybody that is not a Patriot, in the AFC is like in our division needs this, right? So it makes sense. Like if they think they're on the cusp.
That's kind of the leverage point, right? Like they're all in on this. Like this is out in the public. Like the Jets have no other option but then to make this trade. So that does give the Packers some leverage, and the fact that how desperate the Jets are. And so that does,
the only other option that the Jets have is to troll the Ravens and make like a really strong offer on it to make them close on Lamar and then scare the Packers into it probably. Like, oh, you are willing to go somewhere else.
All right. Who do we like here?
I kind of want like Brown or Evans here, I think, or even that's why I would lean. I kind of want that big play touchdown because we know with only being 2 receivers, I want a touchdown guy. I want a deep shot guy.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I think it's going to end up being a second. And I could see them doing like a conditional trade, like second. Do we snipe Stephanie again? Does she have
I said Evans first before I said Brown. Just to throw it out.
Oh, she has Oh no, Stephanie, I am so sorry.
Just so you know, I lean on Evans. I think Evans is pure QB.
I literally had no clue. You know, you gotta draft your team in these rooms, right? Like, oh man, that's tough. I'm gonna Venmo $75 after this draft.
No, Stephanie. You stepped into the room. You know what's happening.
Send you $10. Oh man.
Oh, so random question. What is your least favorite team to draft from? Like, we talked about stacks that we have to take from. What is like the stack that you're just not grabbing, teams you're not really touching? There's gotta be something. Yeah. We all have our own biases,
Sure. I owe you a drink. All right, I got you. Next time we hang out in a couple weeks, we'll get you a drink for sure.
We're gonna take Colt McCoy from her next. That's all right.
Colt McCoy. All right. What are we thinking here?
I kind of leave on Evan Ingram. Evan Ingram, I would consider Zach Charbonnet. Like Zach Charbonnet is that would be strong here too.
I kind of like the flop lag on Mixon a little bit.
You like what? Mixon? Okay. I mean,
like I like the argument of, the stuff going on around him.
The first Mixon I've taken in like 50 drafts.
So we're getting him like around 6 picks past ADP. So the theory on him, and Corain was talking about a little bit about this, is
we literally took the unwanted first rounders of last year, basically.
We did. Give us it's the flop. It's the flop leg. But yeah, the team. Yeah, Tarek nailed it for me. Tampa is tough. Like, it's not like they're one-offs for me. I am not stacking them usually. Definitely like never taking both with Baker. It's just, but I have taken Evans and Godwin as one-offs on teams. But yeah, I have not taken much Baker at all. But no, the Mixon case is that the case against him was apparently dropped. I know there was some stuff he can be brought back up at other times, and I know there was the like the audio hit from the owner, and it did definitely seemed very non-committal on him. But if he resigns in Cincinnati as their RB1, how much higher does he go than where he's going now?
I mean,
Like,
he's basically a 4th rounder at that
I think he's
point.
up there with Najee, right?
Yeah, probably a
And so
third even, because he
if
was
that
a
is
first,
what,
second last year.
yeah, if that's what happens, like he's gonna go so much higher than this later. So yeah, it's risky. He could be suspended. He could get cut and be, in a committee somewhere. But if for some reason, since he strikes out everywhere else and he's brought back, I mean, Piran's out of there. Like, I think there's a chance he could rise up several rounds if it breaks right for his situation.
I mean, the team that's taken Mixon, right? We always talk about teams that will pick these kind of guys up. They have to be teams that are trying to win, or a team trying to change culture. Like, hey, we're a losing team and we need to start winning. We see these with the Browns.
I'm going to say changing. I would not get him.
A winning culture is what it would be.
Culture, a culture change.
No, I mean you laugh, but think about like Kareem Hunt, right? When he went to the Browns, they wanted to like build like a winning roster, so they got guys like Kareem Hunt and a bunch of Jadeveon Clowney, not the greatest dudes, but guys that are are seen like stars to superstars at the time frame. So that that made sense. Yeah. So I could see Mixon going to a team like losing teams like picking him up, right? Like the Texans aren't like, I hope Mixon like just gets cut so we can add him. Nothing like that.
Yeah.
The Titans are going to add him. Falcons aren't going to add him. But you would see him go to a team either changing cultures or needs to win.
All right. I want to take Levis here.
Levis?
Yeah.
Levis?
I do. I think he's the last shot at upside at quarterback. I mean, Brissett's down there. I don't mind him either. We don't have to. Who is your guy here?
I was going to take Michael T, but I'm down for Levis. Let's grab Levis. We need a third, and there's no other real quarterback.
Yeah, and I mean, versus Tannehill, Brissett, like, I feel like this is the last shot at an upside third QB. I've saw some more positive buzz on him. I just like that the conversation has gone too far. I believe it was Ben Solak at the Ringer. He was on a podcast talking like Levis's 2021 tape was actually really good, and then he came back to Kentucky and had like one of the worst wide receiving cores in the country, terrible college offensive line. And like, there's just, a lot surrounding him that wasn't great this year. And so, getting a rookie QB who's going to go in the first round versus, the guys who are left, like that to me it's the last person I want to kind of, bet on.
Well, yeah, to answer Stephanie's question, Najee goes in like round 4 or 5 in big board. And then here he's going like 5, 6. And then Kareem Hunt, like I said, I get it, guys. He's not a locker room guy, but he was a winner. You bring like winning players into teams.
Yeah.
And it did. Like it really did change the Browns around. Like we forget that the Browns were like a 1-15 team like every year. They happened to be at least even or playoff bound the last few years. So it's been pretty good for them.
Well, yeah, because they got Myles Garrett.
Yeah, but it was Garrett plus like Jadeveon plus a new O-line plus Kareem Hunt and Chubb.
It was really the head coaching change, in my opinion. The head coaching change in Cleveland is what
that definitely screwed them by any means. But like Odell and those other guys are great. I want to have Harris.
I don't know.
I think
Damian.
Yeah. Shore up our running backs a little bit. We already have really strong receivers. Our running backs are a little weaker, and then we can take some deep shots again.
Yeah, I would be interested in Quentin Johnson here again, an upside guy compared to which
I would have probably taken Zay if you were going to go that route. I think Zay
and there's a chance Zay comes back too as well.
But like I said, like you need those kind of veteran leader winners, and I think Mixon could go there as a winner type player, even if he's a menace to society.
Yeah, I must say it's tough for me to say that like a winning player. I mean, I don't even think he's like that. It's that special of a player or anything.
I mean, neither was Hunt realistically. People love Hunt, but he really wasn't that amazing. Like, think of what he's done when he got to the Browns. You know,
I
think
guess
about what
good Kansas
Jadeveon
City.
Clowney did before he got to the Browns.
But I
and
do think
Jarvis
what
Landry.
you're talking about shoring up a position is more of a thing you can do in SuperFlex.
Yes.
When the wide receivers, when there's only two, I actually do like going a little bit more balanced. It's not like a definite thing. Like, oh no, we can't. We have like 4 and 4. We got to stay that way.
It also
but
doesn't help that our running backs were like these really like questionable ones, right? We have like Mixon, Cook. It's like we need to have somebody that if things went wrong, you know.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. So it's always kind of like I said, it's just one of those things that's nice to have those kind of guys out of your team. Because otherwise, if you don't have people willing to join your team, it's problematic.
Right.
I don't know, but I hope Mixon stays on the Bengals because that's probably the most relatively good fit for him.
Yeah, I think it is. I mean, I think if you're taking him now, that's like the bet you're making is that they don't go Bijan. You know, maybe they do add a 2nd to 4th round guy. Like if they brought in a Gibbs, that would be great. But like we're drafting this far out, like it's the bet you're making is that somehow he ends up in that starting role, and they, you know, even if they draft a 4th rounder, like that person, I don't think is going to. I mean, they're not going to eat into the workload any more than P. Ryan did. Now, yeah, a Charbonnet or a Gibbs, you're more worried then. But anyone after that, I'm not worried that they're going to do more than what P. Ryan did last year.
And like I said, there hasn't really been any news. So he hasn't been cut. He hasn't been traded. There's no trade talks. Really nothing going on. So he is a fine good bet. I think we're just so down on him just because it's like it's such a weird situation.
Oh, yeah. No, but that's just why at this point, I think it's just like an interesting bet.
Technically no different than what Alvin Kamara did with Alvin Kamara had footage and he still played a whole year. So actually it is a great play. Alvin Kamara went 3rd, 4th round last year. People thought they were getting a steal.
Yeah.
We're talking around pick 90, pick 100 Joe Mixon. It is kind of a steal if he goes away with it.
Exactly. So. That's the play. Oh my gosh. Israel Abanikanda is this high now?
Yeah, he's moving up.
I remember 20th round Izzy Abanikanda. I like him though. I'm in. I think he's a fun player.
He went
Chris
like
G is
180.
Who is dodgy.
He's the guy that's probably going ahead of Trey Lance, Chris.
That's funny.
Let's get your guy. You know you want him. He's right there.
Yeah,
unless
we're taking him.
Steph can't take it from us.
Yeah, we got to stack up. Got the double little Dalvin Osborne stack. Was that the guy you're even thinking I was talking about?
Yeah.
And then, because I think I like one of these tight ends.
Oh, we messed up. We should have taken Darnell Mooney from Steph.
Oh, yes, Steph. You didn't take your stack. You could have Mooney there. Trey Lance League winner. Hey, week 17, when they rest Purdy because they're like 13-3.
And Sam Darnold starts.
Sam Darnold starts.
I don't know. I get why people love Trey. I just can't. I can't right now. It's so
you taking Izzy? I'm excited about him. I took a good bit in the big board.
Yeah, I took him in the big board too. Wish I would taken him a little bit more though.
Jalen Warren's backup.
Gross. I'm telling you guys, when it comes next season, you're all going to be like, you know what? Maybe we should have taken the guy with the volume.
I get all my my Najee exposure on these streams.
Such an ass. We have a couple tight end choices here.
Someone take Steph takes Komet.
Yeah, she's staring at Komet like she's so glad.
She's got Mooney and Komet though. Which one's she going? Or
she didn't grab Mooney, did she?
She did. She just now got him. He was still there.
All right, now we can grab Komet. I like Schultz still, but we don't know what the quarterback situation is. So, but
yeah, I mean, rookie. I feel like you can paint the narrative that a rookie QB throws the tight end a lot, safety blanket type of thing.
When you look at the numbers, it's actually not as true. It definitely is scheme dependent. But yeah, I think the rookies that they have right now, it could be tough. I think Schultz is just probably the best weapon on that team, realistically.
I do think that's sharp to do that.
Most exposed. Purdy was really fun to watch, and I got to watch him kick my Dolphins live.
Sorry, Josh.
Sorry, I love Schultz. I love him.
I actually do. I think he's not like a great player by any means, but I think he's better than some people give him credit for. And
he was pretty amazing in the playoffs last year. I mean, if it wasn't for him taking an injury and missing like half a season, he could have been very relevant in regular fantasy seasons.
for sure.
Crazy.
I totally agree. I think Purdy's a super sharp pick.
Oh, I have nothing against him. He kicked the crap out of my Dolphins life, so I like Purdy. I want him to take over and win and be that guy.
Yeah.
It would be hilarious to me.
Yeah, it would be. I think it'd be a cool story, like Mr. Irrelevant.
Trying to think of that.
Yeah, 85 in Superflex, but 230 and 230 in regular.
Yeah, but the news was different back then, you know.
Yeah, he's up because I'm doing a slow draft right now with my friends, and we have Ayuk and Kittle, and so we are gonna have to add Purdy to that team at some point, and I think he's in like 203 ADP now, so he's up a good bit.
He's gonna move up. He's probably gonna surpass Tannehill
Our
already.
Dolphins. Yeah, Chris is a big Dolphins fan as well.
Oh, good. So we can cry together. It's such a painful to be a Dolphins fan. Like people ask me, and it's like, dude, I don't even know what a playoff win looks like anymore. Like when people talk about like their dreaded teams, I'm like, you guys at least have playoff wins in a decade. I don't know what that even looks like. Every time we got into the playoffs, we go with the backup quarterback the last 2 times. God.
Chris says, remember when we took Skylar Thompson over Purdy? Classic. All right. Who do we like here?
I like Skylar.
I like Chark still. I like Josh Downs. He's getting a lot of good buzz lately. And then MVS and I like those 4 receivers are probably my guys in this range.
Okay, hear me out. My boy Higbee, he's hanging out there.
I think we can wait on him in this round.
I think if we were to grab someone, I'd probably want MVS. I just want a deep shot guy, big body.
I'm fine with MVS. I like MVS. No problem there.
I fucking hate MVS, but
no.
He's just somebody that has like he can get you 2 to 3 games.
We gave Stephanie Josh Downs. Yeah, you're lucky, Stephanie, because if it would have been my pick, it would have been Josh Downs. Not my pick, but if we weren't, having
small
to come
guy,
to an agreement.
man, small guy. I don't want the small dude right now. Where does he go?
He's gonna be good. He's going like top 45, I think, top 50 in the draft. And then he'll be one of those top of second round receivers. Like the teams that take the rookie QBs, they grab like a Josh Downs right there at like 33, 35 in that range. Don't do Higbee. I actually don't mind Higbee as much, but
you guys are just
I
love Higbee. He's still on the team. He never got a cut yet. Okay, this is what we want. Gotta go with my boy Higbee, man. And then DJ Shark having surgery, like, well, come on, man. That dude's been injured forever. It's freaking annoying.
Yeah, no, that's the surgery stuff I did not like to hear.
From him of all people,
Yeah, I did see that report today. Me and my friends were talking about that as well. That was it Rappaport or Schefter? One of the two tweeted out like an obvious PR from the agent, being like, Josh Downs has yet to make he has yet to be invited on any top 30 visits, and he's a great prospect and all this stuff. It's like, okay, the agent obviously had you tweet that out.
Yeah, I was like, I would be interested in like, weirdly enough. So one person on the board right now is Devin Singletary. I'm wondering if he becomes the passing down back on that team.
Maybe. I do not think Devin Singletary is very good, but it is this late.
He isn't the greatest by any means, but he's produced a couple years of fantasy relevancy when everybody has put somebody ahead of him, right? Whether it's Zach Moss, James Cook, Breida. So there was always somebody that was supposed to like usurp him, and it never happened. It's probably, and I think part of it just like he plays just good enough football.
Or all those guys were also bad.
Yeah, probably. But James Cook was supposed to be like the messiah to take over, like for sure. Everyone was like so certain of it. Same for Zach Moss,
Yeah.
And he's above those guys to an extent, or at least in some category. Maybe not every category, but in some way, shape, or form. I mean, why else would they add him on the Texans? He has to do something. He's probably gonna be the pass catching guy.
Oh, he's gonna play. Like he'll be in the rotation there.
30 to
probably not doing a second one tonight, but this weekend when I do my late night drafts, I'm planning to do 2 full ones, like multi-table, and do 2 full drafts. So we'll just do more there. Unless you have time for a second one. I guess I didn't ask you. I assumed it was just one.
I got nothing else to do technically, so I'm
Okay,
down to
yeah, we
con.
might do a second one.
We can YOLO it. Maybe we might get a top. Maybe we'll get a bottom end pick.
Anyone to get big SuperFlex. We kind of talked about this earlier, Chris. I'm kind of soft fading SuperFlex. I'm gonna do good, like probably 20 to maybe up to 40, depending on how interested I get. But I am kind of taking a break from drafting a little bit because I'm gonna be jumping in the NBA streets a lot coming up soon in the NBA playoff streets.
It's a near fade for me too, but I'm at least get 20, 30 in. I think it's just a good way to kind of
It's a good
reset my
contest
mind a
structure
bit.
too. Like I want some exposure to that 2-2-2 advance all the
I
way
want
to
to
the
be the
finals.
story that had one draft and make it to the finals and almost win. Like the guy who won the double, the double dribble.
Yeah,
One draft, went all the way up and
that
won.
was really cool.
I want to be him
SuperFlex is the
or her.
future. I hope not.
I'm waiting for IDP. Like, I told them they need to make it called the guard dog or the junkyard dog, and that'd be hilarious.
Let's see. A weird one. What would be a draft structure you would like to see? Like something that they haven't done before.
IDP, the junkyard dog. He'd be amazing.
Fullbacks
Okay.
only.
Jake Ferguson. All right. And Ship Chasing did a great thing about him and how his routes per ran targets were.
We're just drafting all these tight ends.
Let's get that tight end. Let's get that third. We didn't take any high end tight ends. So it works out. If we take in,
I actually don't mind this pick. I like Jake Ferguson.
Yes.
I took him a few times. Yeah. We're just gonna turn Underdog into a FFPC. Oh yeah, FFPC is not SuperFlex, is it?
It is SuperFlex and premium tight end.
And tight end premium. Yeah, I don't know. I've never played on on FFPC really. I did a couple of their best balls last year. But
it's a great contest. Not my flavor, but some of the guys who do really good work from like 444, Tom, Rotoviz, like they actually have won them in the past. If you get into FPPC, like I would say
FFPC.
It's an FFPC. Like I would check with those guys. It's an interesting contest, and it helps you kind of open your mind for SuperFlex because they have a lot of SuperFlex data in there for them that relates well to this. Tight end premium is obviously a little bit different, but
I kind of like Hodgins at this point.
Right. No arguments for me.
Yeah,
I mean, isn't Slayton later though? Isn't Slayton actually right there? I'd rather have Slayton over Hodgins if I was going to go anymore. Just type his name in.
There he is. Yeah, I actually agree with you. We probably could have waited then if we were going to go Slayton, but there's no one else here I'm in love with anyway.
I mean, Slayton's getting paid more than Hodgins too, which is like if you had to pick between a
take Ertz next. Yeah, our tight end room is kind of rough. Not gonna lie.
I think our tight ends are cool.
A bunch of slow guys.
We got 3 tight end ones. We got Dalton Schultz. We got Tyler Higbee. These are all the tight end ones from last year.
Davis just loves his dusty tight ends.
They're not even that old. Well, maybe Higbee is, but
I know Ferguson's not. Ferguson's young.
Schultz and Ferguson are young.
Yeah, Schultz. We'll see.
Schultz like 26, 25. Not an old guy at all.
I hope not.
I'm saying you guys are just hating my men, my guys. All right. Everyone hates my players, and they always come back to it next year. I'm just saying.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
Besides Marlon Mack, that one I will eat, but he did help me in 2 games, so I can't get too mad for a guy that cost me nothing. That was the worst pick I've ever had. Was Marlon Mack last year.
Taking a look at the board here. Yeah, it gets rough here.
Actually, I've been stacking hedging with like Pierre Strong and James Robinson lately. Like I've just found some way to be like talk myself into like one of these two is going to get that secondary role. And Pierre Strong has like, a very high efficiency rating athleticism score. It's been really weird. It's been the weirdest thing. A lot of white tight ends. There are a lot of tight ends are white, man. White tight ends are
also the dustiest tight end room.
You guys will be coming back when Higbee gets that 7 points per game. You'll be coming back.
He is good on a PPR site. I do worry about, which I mean, at this late in the draft, it's not like it's that big of a deal. Whoever you take, I mean, none of these tight ends are going to score more than 6 points. But but I don't know.
I agree. I'm not trying
Yeah,
to take anything
I
from
have not clicked James Robinson once, and
I'm
don't
not
don't
trying
plan
to,
to. Don't
but
plan to
like
click him once.
I do think one of those two guys has to be the backup for Ramondre. I just don't see Ramondre getting the full workload.
Yeah, exactly. Bad tight ends are good for fantasy.
Yes. The worst tight ends are the best tight ends. I mean, look at Evan
I will
Ingram
say
last year.
though, like Everett here, when I think he's going to go back to the Chargers, I'd probably rather have him over Higbee or Schultz, especially considering where he's going. I
Everett
like
has
that.
been hurt more than both those guys. I don't want to
Yeah,
hear
but
it.
you can't
I love
draft
Everett from
like
last year.
worrying about injuries. Like I don't know.
I think for injury history purposes, I think you can. Like
Yeah.
that man is literally perpetually injured. He's been on like 4 teams now or 3 teams now. Yeah, 3 teams now? 4? How many teams has Everett been on?
Chargers and Seahawks, I think 2. I don't know.
And the
other
Rams
teams.
too.
And the Rams, yeah. Till
Man's
3.
perpetually injured.
Yeah, I think he's good though when he plays. I think he's really good.
You want to hedge it with Curtis? We can get Chase Brown.
I kind of want to take
Jeff,
a. Yeah,
my buddy Ben
I
Jeff.
like Chase Brown. I think that's a good.
Okay, we'll grab Chase Brown. I've been picking all the junky picks lately, so.
Yeah, Rams. Yeah, I didn't think he was a 4th one yet, but I do remember he's on all.
We
those.
almost thought he was a 4th one this year though, because we had the idea of Hayden Hurst would come over there. And
Yeah,
Mike
or
Gesicki.
Gesicki, yeah, or Schultz even because of the connection.
Like I said, like Everett always has had that athleticism. He just doesn't. It hasn't got there. He's kind of like Noah.
He had
Fant,
a pretty
in a
good.
way.
He had a really good year this last year, though.
No, it's not that good. It was not that good of a year. I promise you. Click his stats. Click them. Find out what was his stats. Click him right there, right on your screen.
Oh, yeah, on the screen. I was Googling it.
No, click him right on your screen. What do you think he did?
What did he have last year? 4 touchdowns, 555 yards, 58 catches.
That man doesn't fit. That's it. It wasn't like an amazing season. It was no different than the average tight end.
Yeah.
Less tight
end. He did score more touchdowns than Higbee. All right, let's see. Samuel? You mentioned Curtis Samuel. I kind of like him here.
I was thinking Samuel or Gus Bus. I think we have 7 receivers already.
Yeah, you're right. With the 2 and 2, I don't mind. I mean, I'm not as in on Gus Edwards as you are, but I don't mind it on this team.
Just because it's a familiar team. I think if he ended up on another one, I'd be a little different on it. But I kind of like just the way he's at. Until they draft somebody way ahead of him, which is possible because it is on last year.
I like Chase Brown, so that one was LV2. Who'd you go with? You tacked on? Are you? Yeah, Huntley. Okay. I like Huntley as a late quarterback in these a lot. I think that's sharp.
Our receivers are really strong, though. We have Brown, Higgins, Moore.
Yeah, this is not a bad team. And like again, and tight end too is one of those like when you're picking tight ends as late as we did. I mean, they're all dust. Like your tight ends are scoring 6 points a week on average. Like a warm body who's going to play is a good tight end.
We do need to figure out 4th quarterback. Is there anything left?
You think we need 4?
I don't think so, but I think we could throw like a funny pick in.
I don't know. I don't even think we really need it at this point. I mean,
we can take Colt McCoy from just take it from stuff.
Take Stidham.
Oh God.
I don't know. I think we're good with 3. I would rather, since our running back room has the potential to be dust, I would like to take another running back here.
Probably. Oh, I was gonna say maybe Dearness. He is playing just behind ETN.
He probably is. They still have Hasty though, and they played him a lot last year. Like he was in like their important drives in the playoffs. Weirdly,
he wasn't too good though. Maybe we could also go
Pierre Strong. Go back to the well on him.
Yeah,
I don't mind Dearness. Like I don't think I've clicked him yet, but
I've only picked him I think once. I usually grab Joshua Kelly down here because I don't think that Eckler is going to get traded, but I do think Kelly is his direct handcuff. And it's kind of tough. I guess I also don't know if Eckler is, he's just a smaller guy taking a huge workload every year. It's who knows.
Yeah, where is
There's not
Kelly?
many running backs that I like at this point in the game.
No, I'm good with going Josh for Kelly. We're not getting Dearness anyway, and yeah, I'm kind of with Josh here. Hasty to me is the number 2 there.
Yeah, Ben Jefferson. Everyone knows that. How like these like really ugly teams. I draft the
Ben
ugliest teams.
Jefferson.
I know. I draft from like last year was like Seattle and like it was another team that people just like the
Travion.
Dolphins of Seattle, and everyone just thought I was just weird for it. I'm like, no, it's what I'm taking.
Yeah, no, you're super sharp last year getting in on the Seattle stuff.
Dolphins,
not-
man.
and
I had
not
like
being
30%
worried.
of the Fins. I was all over those guys.
Yeah, I mean, I think you definitely were more in on them than most people. But yeah, I like Josh Kelly there.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, like the last picks are always rough, especially 20 rounds, and it's not like
we
our
should have
quarterback's
waited to see
too strong.
who everyone else finished up with. I clicked off that too fast. Evan Hull, I like that. I like that stuff. That's a good last pick.
I'm actually surprised you
He's
didn't pitch for CEH. I thought you were going to pitch for
No,
Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
I have not taken CH.
Remember when
This
people
one
used to
is-
think he was a first rounder? That was funny.
I took him in the first round
God, absolutely gross.
in a
Couldn't do
redraft.
it. I couldn't do it. Could not do it. I could not.
We're gonna do one more draft. Only need 4 this time. 3.
3. Come on, 101. Influencer 101. I'm going to go message my buddies from UD. Hey, guys, need soft pods 101, please. Please, soft pods.
So how about the 112?
Oh, God damn it. Buddy's at the top. Rorschach.
Yeah.
Sam's at the top. I hate you, Sam.
All right, this will be an interesting draft. It'll be completely opposite of the one we just had. Don't look at my old dynasty.
I'm gonna cry. I hate the 112.
Yeah, I'm here with Josh with this. Since he's number 2 running back isn't on the team yet, I think that's a really good take.
Yeah.
Maybe the number 1 isn't either.
Ben's at 1-9.
Yeah, the
That's
absolute opposite of the influencer 101.
It's not, it's just gonna be better when we win with it. Okay, we're gonna say that we took down.
I do kind of want to try. We'll just see who falls, but go in position player instead of QB.
All
right. Good night, Chris.
Didn't hate that team. Peace, Chris. Fins up. It's hard being a Dolphins fan.
Yeah, it's a tough life.
You ever tell you a story about when I flew to a Dolphins game from obviously
Seth's in the 7th spot here, Bobby.
Yeah, so I flew to a Dolphins game, and I guess they take your information when you go there. So they call me, like the ticket sellers, like, hey, how'd you enjoy the Dolphins game? We lost, whatever, right? And then I'm like, oh, it was cool, fun game. He's like, you want to buy more tickets? We're having a great deal. And I'm like, where you come from? And I'm like, San Francisco. And they're like, why would you fly out here to watch this game? And I'm like, the ticket guy said, like, you flew out to watch this? I'm like, yeah. And then he was like, okay, never mind, we're not selling you tickets. And he like just hung up. It was like it asked like, why am I a fan? Basically, it was embarrassing. I was like, yeah, it's a rough one. We just lost to the Colts.
All right, Ben did get in this one in the 1-9.
Why can't Justin Jefferson ever fall to 112? That'd be cool.
That would be fun.
Pick 7's not the worst though, because pick 7 you can get a faller.
You can occasionally get a faller, but it's usually first position player for me.
So all the cool kids got taken. Oh, cool.
Chase Tyreek.
Yes.
Yeah. Sounds fun to me.
It is fun. It's actually funny when this opened up. Chase was behind like Stephon Diggs and stuff.
That opening ADP was so strange in these. I don't know what ADP they imported or if they did their own. I don't think they would have done their own and then had it different than the big board. I don't know kind of how that happened, but that was weird. There were a lot of strange players.
Yeah, it was a lot of weird ones, and I think people were like getting confused because they were like, "Whoa, like I didn't know he would be this late," and I'm like, yeah, you got to actually look at the names. You know, you just can't stare at the ADPs. So I was getting a lot of free like chase for like nothing, because he was just at pick 20 or 21 or something like that and falling.
Yeah, that makes sense. So when you've done this with the double tapping of position players, do you try and force that third, fourth round as QBs if you can? Or are you even willing to push it more? Or how are you playing this usually?
It depends who comes, right? Like, let's say
it always does, right?
It depends on who comes in there. And if it's like the ugliest run ever and everyone just gets taken, then I think we just throw dust to it and grab more positions, right? Like every quarterback gets
like
taken.
5
we
to
get
6
left.
quarterbacks.
Yeah, and we're down to like the guys that are normally pick 80, pick 90, and it happens. Every room is a little weird in these. Then I would keep pushing it, and I would start just drafting these random backups and like maybe Jimmy G, right?
Yeah.
Like and that's it, and hope for the best. But obviously, we're looking for the next tier after. If we can get the Carrs, the Wilsons, the Staffords.
Yeah, I would be totally fine with those guys if they came back for sure.
I had a team I posted today was practically in that realm. I didn't get Chase CMC like I wish I did. I think I had CMC Hill. Chase pick like one pick ahead of me, and I kind of would be sad, but that's what I would do. And I credit that to like Pete, making a good point. Like I'm gonna face off against Josh Allen with like Dak Prescott. Like like this doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
So I understand that. I agree with them 100%.
Yeah, I mean, you just try and crush people at the other positions, right? If you're going to get crushed at QB, instead of then just making their team even stronger by pushing down better players to these guys, grab a couple of them here and try and beat them.
And at the end of the day, too, it's like your SuperFlex is. So the reason if you ever look at how SuperFlex is generally scored or position to position, right? The average quarterback, if you flatline it, and let's say it's Derek Carr as your flatliner, he's averaging about 16 points a week, which is more than most skill positions that aren't like the top 4, right? Like the top, Justin Jefferson type guys. So realistically, getting him there is going to be your SuperFlex, and he's just going to be 16 points a week, right? Or better, 16 plus. So we don't have to force those guys in, because at the end of the day, you're only getting 16 to 22 points, right? Sure, you get a one-off 300 yards, 5 touchdown game, but that's very rare even for quarterbacks. So right now, like we see Russ going like really early right now. So it's just like that. It's always gonna depend on the room.
That makes total sense. What do you think about this? Is Kelsey more valuable in these because of the one less wide receiver spot?
Yes. I think he definitely moves up a little bit because tight end is always a tough room, and he probably ends up in your flex a lot more. I think he's just a guy that ends up in your flex quite often. But I don't know if I would still take Kelsey in any situation here, but I do think he's valuable more than some receivers. Just based on the draft moves, I need to maybe see how he kind of gets drafted and ends up in there. I would probably still take a skill position over him if it was like, let's say where the pick went right there. If Tyreek how fell to Kelsey, where Kelsey was, I would take Tyreek. But anyone else after probably would take Kelsey.
Yeah.
Like I would take Kelsey maybe over like Adams.
Yeah, the Adams stuff is a little nervy. I'm not overly concerned, but you've got he's best out of the slot. They've got all the slot guys, which obviously, Devontae Adams is going to play where he's going to be, best at. They're going to feed him the ball, so I'm not too worried about that.
See, Lamb went pretty late. Pick 3-6.
Yeah, he did. All right, who else we got here? So Carr is still there. I don't want to get us sniped here, but I think that would make some sense.
We can Carr Olave. We can Carr into Henry. Let's see if he goes.
Oh, Gino.
Oh,
I like doing Gino Carr.
Okay, let's grab those two.
I think those two are, they're gonna be the starters.
They're very flat players.
Yeah, but you look like after that, there's just so many question marks about the next year, and like we're probably still taking 4 on this team, easy. So I like getting them there, and then we can get a Seattle guy. We'll probably lock it. Metcalf's probably going to go here.
Yeah. So yeah, thanks, Chris. Like I said, it's tough because you're looking at what he brings to the table.
Right.
Does he bring anything? And I think Kelsey does. But it's definitely tough. It's definitely much tougher. But your wide receiver hit rates are going to be more condensed because it's only two positions now. And I think that's how I view it. The mathematics need to be done, but we do know that Kelsey averages a buttload of points.
This person was probably trying to get us to pass on Carr, so they went ahead and grabbed Olave here. But they didn't know we had the number one Derek Carr fan in Davis Peng on the stream.
Funny. I not so 2 years ago, if you would have said something about Carr, I would have said he's like, I'm not a guy for him. And someone got me on. So someone on Twitter, like he doesn't have a big following. He's in our den. He's best ball ratings. He always rates teams. That's what he does.
Yeah.
And he was just like, Davis, you have it all wrong about Derek Carr. And then he sent me the whole thing, and I was like, son of a bitch, he's right. And I was like, this is when Derek Carr was like 32nd quarterback off the board. And this is before his breakout year, and then everyone took him out. And I was like, he's right. Like, you just got to grab like Goff and Carr, just run with it because they are literally costing you nothing and are going to do so much work. So like I changed a huge page on Carr, which then made me change a huge page on Goff and like BBM2. And like worked out in my favor so much because those guys cashed in. They cashed in playoffs. They cashed in like regular season and cost you nothing. So although I'm not the biggest Carr guy in real life, I think from fantasy, he's just the flatness with some spiky. Like it's good for what he costs you half the time. And people overpaid last year. I thought that was weird. I was like, you guys really paid up for him. But, I thought he could at least finish at QB 13. But, QB 19, QB 20, he's not a bad price. So
no, it's not.
That's why I'm in on him. It's just because his price is always interesting. He hyper fluctuates, like Ryan Tannehill. Ryan Tannehill's a guy that fluctuates really hard every year. Holy crap! Devontae Smith went that late. Interesting.
That is interesting.
We're so lost. We're not paying attention to these guys.
I was producing something on the side over here, but let's see. Well, yeah, let's get back focused in. Sorry, I had to edit something on our thing here. Or I know you're not taking Kyler. You're not even going to bring him up if he was to make it back to us.
I would not take Kyler, not in a flyer. I think if I took Kyler, I'd force us to take like whoever their backup was.
Let's see.
I can't, man.
Oh, you make a card good for the brand.
Of course, I'll like my car's naked. You know how they are.
There's still plenty of stacking partners with Carr that we can get later, and we probably will. Just wait on the board, guys. The rookies, though, I'm interested when coming back around. Any of them at this point, I think makes sense for this team. Give us some more upside at quarterback to try and, combat the top guys, but we'll see. I know you're not big on the rookie QBs, but I think they're guys that are going to start, and compared to like taking, Jordan Love or Kyler over them, I'm not into that.
I'm not into that. I'd rather have the skill guys. I'd rather have Calvin Ridley, Cooper, Hopkins, Najee, DJ. Yeah. I actually have turned a corner on Anthony Richardson. I actually have. I think if we're gonna,
this is huge.
Yeah, no, it's weird. If he does go in that range that you're telling me that he goes in top 5, and he does start, then you're just buying him to run. You're just like, I hope this guy plays.
Josh Allen scored like 18 points a game, 17 points a game, something like that.
18 up into 30 and 40 points in his rookie year. Yeah, he had an amazing fantasy rookie season. It's actually kind of scary.
And that's why the drumbeat has been for such a long time that Richardson's going top 5. I mean, top 10 at worst, it seems like. Now, there could be a random draft night slide, but this is not a Malik Willis situation where he's going to, all of a sudden be like a third round
pick. He went to Florida. Like, it's not a bad school.
Oh, it's a great school. And he's going high. Thank you to who is that? Joda, who took Najee Harris. Who took Najee Harris, so we don't have to in this draft.
I'm out here trying to create a winning team with so little at the, like 80% is allocated to every other position, and my 20% that I need for my running backs, it's like
we couldn't read the name in StreamYard, so I was like, who's that over there? Oh yeah, Joda. Great pick, Najee Harris. Darn, I really wanted to pick him again this time.
Oh no.
Yes.
Oh. Okay. Let's no. Oh, yeah. It's fine. I was actually gonna say we
That's
could kept like D Hop and like Cooper and just really bully out the receivers for flex. But yeah, we'll grab Anthony Richardson. That's fine.
We have 2 picks here though. Who
Yeah,
do you like as the second one?
D Hop or Cooper.
Yeah, I'm fine with either one of these guys. Cooper's probably my preference right now. I don't know. We could do Hop actually.
He's the better player.
I don't know about. Yeah, he is. But
Let's be real. You're gonna tell me Hopkins is
just-
not a better player. It's wild.
no, you're right. I'm biased towards Samari, but we'll see. I
This
just wish
isn't
we knew.
college, lady. You can't just think about his college days.
Man, was he good? Yeah, no, I'm excited about Hop, and he's got to get traded at some point. And it doesn't seem like he's going to go to anywhere else except a good team, right?
Worst case, if he doesn't get traded, Colt McCoy funneled that ball to him, dude. Colt McCoy just chucked it to him. He didn't care.
Well, the only thing, if that does happen, he's going to fall like 2 rounds. Which this contest isn't going to be open that long anyway. So if we like DeAndre Hopkins, then let's take DeAndre Hopkins.
I mean, Hopkins has always just been good.
No, he had some crazy target games last year. Ben says I'm just scooping value. I don't know. You did take Kyler, and
if they're your guys,
And,
man. If Watson's your guy, go for it. I can't.
I like Christian Watson.
I think Watson would be so great if Rodgers stays.
Yeah.
I just don't know enough about Jordan Love to want to take a guy.
I mean, no one does. That's the thing. It's so tough. It's like, yeah, I haven't been like smashing Christian Watson, but I am more excited about him. It sounds like than you are. He's like Depot, but yeah, he was exciting on some of that short stuff, and even did some. I think he had a few like handoff plays.
Yeah, he's a bigger guy too, right? I think he's like a little on the bigger side.
Yeah. Oh, he is. Yeah, he was like 6'2", 205 at the combine.
Yeah,
I think.
And
he's fast. Like it's.
He's better NVS, what they were calling him. He's just better NVS, and I think that's fine.
And he can do a lot more as well.
A little inconsistent last year, but I wonder if that was play calling plus just like it not, being a rookie, right? Like, and I said this last year when I wrote my article for Wilson's, like, not every rookie has to produce. So, like, it doesn't happen. Like, Treylon Burks really didn't produce. Drake London really didn't produce. Like, these guys don't have to. Luckily, and we have a lot of expectations for these, like, rookie players coming in against veterans. And some young veterans, right? Like, don't get me wrong, if it's like Garrett Wilson against, like, 33-year-old like Xavier Rhodes and Patrick Peterson, sure. But like Garrett Wilson against another a great young corner might be tough. That's been in the league for only 3 years versus his rookie. It's not easy. And Garrett Wilson had a bad game this last week.
That's a good point from Ben. He did. Yeah, he got a lot of handoffs. Like they fed him the ball. And I even think with someone like Love, they're gonna have to do that even more. Some of the gadget type stuff. And it seems like Christian Watson is the guy they're gonna do that with. It's just worrying about. I mean, it's just tough because, like, maybe Jordan Love's good. Like, we just have no idea.
Yeah. So we just have to see it. I have to see a little more of it. And that sucks. That's probably going to bite me.
Yeah.
But it's not like Watson's going late in big board. Like, he's going like pick 40 or pick 50 right now.
Yeah. He was.
This is one of those kind of picks
ADP
you take
for
at
me.
like pick 70 to 80. And I think that's why I'm a little off on him. Like I didn't take any Debo last year, and people were very high on Debo. I'm just like, you're asking for a very hard to replicate stat, which is wide receivers rushing. Replicate. Sorry, I don't like it's a hard to stat to replicate, and it proven true.
That's fair.
So, but I think Watson might be the exception because he hasn't shown any injuries like Debo did. He hasn't shown any, I don't want to be a part of this team. I don't want to run the ball like trade talks like Debo had last year.
So I think too, our build doesn't I don't think you have to force running back in these because of the 2 wide receiver spots. I do think 0 RB makes a lot of sense in these, and the fact of like, you can take if you go 5 straight elite receivers, you can just stop, right? You can be almost done in this. Now 5 is light, but you can do it. So I'm thinking of a pick here that I want to make. That would be a wide receiver. And I think it can make a ton of sense. I don't think we have to force the double tap at RB here.
I mean, RB values are also just really good these last 2 years. Like, if you would have gone 3 years ago, like these RBs would be way higher and then things would shift. But with so many running backs going at pick 90, 100, 110,
Right.
120. Jeff Wilson 140. Like, I'm willing to push it sometimes because they are gonna be there. And if somebody wants to crap on our team by grabbing Jeff Wilson 40 picks early, well then have at it. All you did was you hurt yourself.
So, yeah, I was wanting Tyler Lockett, but he goes 4 picks in
That
front
would
of
have been a
here.
good one too.
Yeah. So I'm Dobbins. I like Dobbins here.
I would grab Dobbins and Montgomery.
Yeah,
At
I
this
was
point,
thinking the same thing. I kind of like Ritter because I do
Ritter
think
would've been
this
pretty
team
interesting.
needs a 4th quarterback, but there's still some interesting guys that go a little later. I don't mind that. Honestly, for starting 2 position players, like a Geno, Carr, Richardson, like QB room is not bad, especially if we add one more. Like, that's not that bad picking at the turn like that.
Yeah. Goddard would have been a guy I'm interested in just a little bit. Like I said, he's an upside tight end. He's probably going to finish top 4, top 5.
And we could have double tapped like Pitts Ritter as well.
Yeah.
Could have been
Pitts
an
Ritter would
option.
have been a good one.
Yeah.
Interesting. I mean, not necessarily good, but it would have been interesting.
Yeah, it's just an upside bet.
Yeah. I do think Ritter will throw more than Mariota. Mariota went there. I just didn't think he was going to throw. Going back to his old coach that basically helped bench him for Tannehill, there was no way. There was no way they were going to have this guy research to be the next Tannehill.
That makes sense.
We always joke about call it Tanneception if Tannehill comes over and takes his job again. He just takes his job twice. It'd be so good.
It would make sense.
So bad. I don't know. A lot of the Mariota talk last year was just so funny.
Really hate that we got sniped on Tyler Lockett there. Because now Seattle is going to be tough. I mean, we're punting tight end, so Noah Fant could be an option to get some sort of Seattle stack in there. And so I wouldn't mind
Chasing
that.
ADP was even talking about in Seattle for the last 3 to 4 years, everybody outside the top 2 receivers, which was
they
Lockett,
don't
DK
do
Metcalf, got
anything.
no touches, no love. And I said this in one of our articles. I was projecting them to basically produce that way. And I think someone gave me crap. They're like, how could you project those guys to get all those targets? I was like, because that's just kind of what happens every year with Seattle. I want Dwayne Eskridge. I want Noah Fant to go off, but Seattle has shown us not to
I do think Noah Fant has had some usable games though, and some a couple
very
decently big
touchdown
games.
reliant games. They were
when you're taking tight end that late, you're just praying for a touchdown anyway.
Which is fine, but that wasn't my point for it. My point was he just doesn't get a lot of targets, right? No one.
No, he doesn't. That's fair.
Yeah, third option after it's not good for you in Seattle. But I would grab Noah Fant because I do think he's an athletic monster at tight end. Just been a little downtrodden the last few years.
Yeah, I mean he's never going to be what we thought he could be as a prospect, but
his rookie year was insane though. Oh God, he was just killing it in Denver. I think he needs Drew Lock is what he needs.
Got to get Drew Lock back in his life. He almost had him.
So close. But that's what happened with like I said, chip chasing. They did it. They put out the numbers, and it's true. And when I had the same projections last year, someone was giving me crap for it. I'm like, no, I really don't. I think they 60% of the targets are going to go to 2 guys. And it did. It was basically 2 dudes.
Yeah.
As ugly as Geno Smith was. George Pickens, that's your favorite.
My God, George Pickens. Yeah, I don't know. I think a lot of smart people have come out with some counterpoints to him. And so it's, like I said, I'm always willing to not change my opinion on that, but, kind of modify it, I would say is a better word to use. And, take the facts and take other people who are smart in the space and, kind of use that to more formulate an opinion.
Kadarius Toney. I saw people tweet out Kadarius Toney's like clickbaiting. Why is nobody talking about him being the wide receiver 1 for the Chiefs? I'm just like, come on, we're doing this game again.
Yes, we are doing this game again.
I mean, don't get me wrong, the dude's talented. I loved him on the Giants. You could see he's just electric, right? But
you still see that in Kansas City. I mean,
you see it all the time. He's an electric player.
He's absolutely electric.
Just needs to be on the field and and do something.
No, I mean that's fair. I don't know. I'm excited to pick him again.
Let's see.
A couple of guys I like here for sure.
This round's always
This is-
interesting.
This is a good range of the draft, in my opinion. It's so tough because, like, you've got a couple people here not wanting you to snipe him with Wavi and Ben.
Someone I am going to bring up right off the bat is like just Javonte Williams. I'm so curious what's going on in his season right now. Like,
it does not seem good.
Yeah, what's going on with him? Like, is he?
I think the injury was just a lot worse than initially reported. Like, it wasn't just a torn ACL. There was damage to a lot of other stuff in the knee, is what it seems like. Ben took one of the guys I was wanting to pick here. Yeah, Charbonnet
too.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I think we. There we go. That was the second one, Penny. Okay. So Penny's gone too.
I just think I'd rather have these receivers here than force a running back pick. I like, especially Deontay.
I'm okay with Deontay or Gabe Davis. I think Gabe Davis is one of those. I think Gabe Davis would be my choice here. Weirdly enough,
we could just take both and just be done.
I kind of like James Conner.
James Conner. I don't know. That's tough.
Let's run with the two we have now. Let's run with the two we have right now. That's Deontay and Deontay and Gabe. Just go Deontay and Gabe.
I think we go Gabe. Yeah, we can even almost stop here. We don't have to stop at 5.
Yeah. We'll take these 5 and move on.
Because I think we're going to like some of the running backs that come back around on this next turn.
No, good pick, Ben. We wanted Zach Charbonnet. Like, that's what I would have wanted. And Rashad Penny would have been the 2 guys here.
Yeah, Charbonnet on the rocks.
The
Dobbins injury. I've seen it compared to that as well, that it's going to take him a year plus to come back from that.
Luckily, his injury was kind of early, but Dobbins was injury in was in camp. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's always good to like not get married to your takes. I think that's something that some people do too much in this space.
So I know it's gonna be weird when someone says, "Why the hell do you want Gabe Davis over Deontay Johnson?" So I'm just gonna point out, Gabe Davis, as much as I don't like his value last year, the picks that he's at right now, right, the 7, 8 plus picks, big board to SuperFlex, isn't terrible. Like, we know what his role is. It's deep shot. We know who his quarterback is. And when he does get on the board, it's not like he's getting on the board for like 10 points. Gabe Davis isn't getting on the board for like 15, 14 plus kind of situation. And if I'm going to make this excuse for Najee or Dobbins, I have to make the excuse for Gabe. Gabe played injured last year, right? He played with a high sprained ankle injury, and he was still getting some separation. It wasn't there, but
he still had his one Gabe 40-point game that is just in the bag. Like, not many people can have 40-point games in this range. Like, so Jahan Dotson never scoring 40.
Yeah, and at the same time, as much as I like Deontay, on the flip side of it, does Deontay get red zone? And I don't think he does. I think that's going to be alluded to Najee, Warren, Pat F, Pickens. Like, I think that's what scares me a lot. So I know that's probably going to come up like, hey, why would you take Gabe over Deontay? And that's particularly the reason. It's a 2-receiver team, right? 2-receiver situation. And all our receivers are very top heavy. So I need a guy that can burst higher than them. And that's got to be Gabe. So
that's fair. Yeah, you've got some James Conner support here in the chat, it looks like.
So the theory about James Conner was like they were just going to run the ball a ton with him this year, like they did last year. We saw this, and it makes sense. Like, is it sexy?
I mean, if they're starting Colt McCoy, James Conner's gonna have a huge role.
And he catches a lot. He catches a ton of passes for a guy that's like.
I like him. I didn't mean to completely say or act like I didn't like him. It's just I really preferred those 2 receivers to him. In that range. But
we could have passed on one, and I think our team did need a running back. But if we're going to go 5 and go very heavy later, that's totally good with me. I think, like I said, I'm not going to pass up on upside win points. And Josh Allen, he goes to Gabe Davis. Gabe Davis had a lot of targets, just didn't catch them all. And part of it was
he didn't have a lot of
one
targets.
Is Gabe Davis, and part 2 he was injured. Like, he just wasn't getting there. So I think he rebounds. They still like him. They didn't trade him. There's no we think he's not good. Talks come from their team. And, you earn your targets. And he did. He earned a ton of targets last year. So that's kind of where I'm at on it. I know we're all sour on them, but sometimes people overdrafted last year. Doesn't mean that you cannot change your ideas the year after.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Oh, you got Samaje, you got Njoku's, Michael Thomas. Michael Thomas, god damn it. I'm going to end up having way more than I should of him. I know it, and I'm going to hate myself. Because hey, at least I'm stacking up my cars, all right? You can't get mad at me.
No, I would have been fine if Michael Thomas made it back to us. I don't hate Michael Thomas this year. Some of his advanced numbers were pretty good last year. It's just the injury stuff. Like, I don't know. You're so averse to injured players that the Michael Thomas thing is a little interesting for me, but
because he's that much more talented, though. You're saying, for me, it's like, is it injury to like talent? And it's like, I'm not taking, like, who did we talk about earlier that was just like, well, that dude just, like Darren Waller, right, is one of the guys that's very talented, but I don't think even at his peak he was ever as good as Michael Thomas, right?
I mean, he can't, like, it's a completely different position though.
Yeah, but he never had the same upside Michael Thomas. Michael Thomas,
well, yeah, of course. I mean, Michael Thomas is one of the best. He was one of the number 1 overall picks in PPR fantasy.
Right. Like,
I mean, I just don't think it's fair. That's not fair to Darren Waller to be like, well, you weren't Michael Thomas. Like, of course, but he's not going to be Michael Thomas.
No, but even besides his one good year, that Waller really had, it's like he never had those stream of like, I'm amazing year after year after year like Michael Thomas had. Michael Thomas is like a very weird exception due to how amazing he is. I don't think there's many guys in that category that you can take at pick 130 that is just as talented as he is. Even when he came back last year, he was talented. Like Waller came back last year and it was still a little questionable on how well he was doing. It's not like Gronk. Gronk is one of those guys I would take, and even though he got injured over and over, because Gronk was just that special.
He's the best tight end of all time. So like,
right, like he's just that special. I never considered like a lot of the other semi-injury prone players as special as him. Cooper Kupp would be one of those guys right now. I think is just that special.
Yeah, absolutely.
But there's not a ton of them. In my mind, there's not.
Well, no, I mean there's. Yeah, I mean these guys are the best of the best. Like there's, yeah.
So that's why I said when you're asking why would I take Thomas, because Thomas was up there. He's in his own category.
I know we're taking Brian Robinson here.
Yep, we have to take a 20 touch guy. Is AJ Dillon on the board or is he gone?
He went. Yeah, Ben took him. That was going to be our 2 picks for sure. I kind of like Knox. I kind of like. I mean Madison. I don't mind either.
I'd probably take Mitchell or Zay Flowers. I like Mitchell. I think like he gets half the touches.
Let's go Mitchell here. Yeah, I think there is a chance that they use him a little bit more, and I kind of still want to hold it open for a potential New Orleans receiver.
Yeah, Zay's gonna end up on New Orleans. Don't you know that?
Yeah, I'm getting kind of nervous though about the Brian Robinson stuff, just because we know he's not a special talent. We're hoping for the volume thing. But they have been mocked by some of the national guys, Bijan at 14. I've seen that in several mock drafts. And so if that happens, obviously the Brian Robinson is a pure handcuff play at that point. I mean, he'll be in there from time to time, but he's not like he's going to just be the pass catching guy, right? Because that's not what he is. And so I think, if that happens, like, obviously it's GG's for Brian Robinson.
It's fair. I think the team has too many holes, though. I think any team that's mocking him there, it just seems off to me.
I agree. I mean, I've seen the Patriots mocked Bijan.
Yeah.
And it just makes no sense. But like, I don't know. I think there's been this push this year for Bijan being like pure talent. Like Bijan's like the first or arguably, second, third best player in this draft.
It's
talent-wise.
true.
And like at some point, I feel like these NFL teams are like, we can't just, I mean, I would every time. I wouldn't take a running back in the first round. But I feel like these teams are like, you know what? We can't let this talent go, even if it's not our biggest need. And I don't think that's smart thinking, but that's just how they operate.
I mean, it's proven over time that that's actually worked out, right? Like you always want the guy that's going to be on your team in the second contract. Running backs is a weird exception to that because
that's the thing. Like, yeah, I'm totally fine. Like, take the best player who you think is the best player, but the running back position is the one position where I don't agree on that. But everywhere else, yeah, like if there's an amazing left tackle, but you don't need one, but if you think he's far and away the best player, like figure it out.
If you're drafted in the top half, your team is far from a running back. I could see it for like a bottom half team. The
I mean,
last
I
three.
agree, dude, but we've seen and I know teams aren't doing it as much anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, the Giants had a terrible team and took Saquon number 2.
That's just because the Giants are so bad.
I mean,
They're
yeah,
so
I
freaking
agree.
bad. Their organization is such a hot mess. It's the funniest thing to me.
I mean, can't you just see Jerry Jones like trading up for Bijan for some reason? Like the big Texas running back stays in Dallas, even though that would really not make sense. But it feels like something Jerry Jones would push for.
I mean, like I was talking, like I said, one of the guys that lives in my building is a former NFL player, played for the Giants and the Seahawks, and he was just like, I was like, how do you feel about being on those teams? And he was just like, man, I didn't like being on the Giants. he's like, he should change.
Really?
I didn't like being on the Giants. He was like, that was hard. He was just telling me it was hard. He was like, he liked it when he was a Seattle. He liked it more when he was a Cowboy. He's just like, man, it's old school and like not the good way. When he was talking about the Giants, I was like, okay, you got it. But it's just it's a crapshoot. It's not a good franchise. Not at least not from a management standpoint.
No.
Well, Jeff Wilson went, so there goes our guy, possibly.
I mean, I still like Mostert as well. Probably not gonna make it though.
You know, Zeke can end up on a team. Oh, Tyler Higbee? No, are we looking at?
There's some better tight ends still available.
Why do you hate my players? They're not better. All right.
Yeah, a couple of these tight ends are better for sure.
All right, let's get weird. And I would say if we still
have 6 picks here.
We can take Taysom Hill. We can get the double quarterback stack.
I don't honestly hate it, but yeah, it's tough. Like to do something like that for like a New Orleans Galaxy Brain Week 17, I would want to have Carr, Olave, Taysom, where like you get, if you have Carr, you get the big Taysom game, and then the big Carr game with Olave, and then like Taysom randomly scores 2 goal line touchdowns, like something like that.
So
because it's not just going to be like Carr to Taysom is ever going to pop off.
So one of the other basketball streamers, the Pound, he was actually talking about like sometimes taking those kind of stacks with, why super stacking can be pretty good, not super, but like a double receiver, is that maybe one week in the playoffs, Chris Godwin goes off, and then week 16, Mike Evans go off, right? So but then you get lucky that you have both those guys for 17 when most people won't have them. And I thought that was a pretty good idea when he was talking about it that way.
I think Juwan.
Yeah, you want both those New Orleans tight ends.
No, I don't. I like kind of like Hyatt or Jacoby.
I would take Hyatt.
Yeah, he's still gonna get draft capital.
Yeah.
All right, we got a Carr stack. No, it's not.
Is it a Carr stack?
It is. Juwan's good. I like Juwan.
No, yeah, I thought we got Hill for some reason. I was like, wait, no. But I mean, like, anyways, back at. I think there is an idea of those kind of stacks that kind of work out. Although, in any given week, 2 guys generally may not produce on the team, but any other week, 1 guy could produce. And I think that's a good value. And I think Taysom Hill, like you said, matches up with Derek Carr. Maybe a week that Derek Carr doesn't go off, Taysom Hill does, and it really benefits you.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like you're playing, but I just think too.
It sounds like a hedge though, if anything.
And plus Carr, I know it's SuperFlex, but him being our first, we took 2 QBs back to back, but basically our first QB on the team. I think it's tough to not want them to have a really good season, and so Taysom just kind of clashes with that, in my opinion.
No, for sure. I'm just talking about from just if you're looking at it from the mindset of how hedging and can play well, tough. But because then your week 17 is a little weird. But last week 17, both Eagles players went off, so it happens.
No, yeah.
I both had Devontae and AJ Brown on one team just going to town. I mean, didn't equal to Mike Evans, but it was or Boston Eckler.
All right.
Any other given week though would be nice.
Yeah. I like this team though. I think this is a solid build. Probably gonna now hit it with depth at RB because we are a little thin there. That's the one thing, but I think we're done at receiver at this point.
Oh yeah,
with
definitely.
6. Yeah. I kind of like Hyatt there as like the last chance of getting like a really high upside guy.
The flyer, yeah.
Yeah, because I mean there's still a chance he goes first round, right? Like it's not a great chance. I know he's kind of slipping a little bit, it seems like, but he's still going to go in the second, like at worst.
Yeah, if he goes in the second, that's fine. Like second round receivers aren't bad. There's a lot of second round receivers who end up doing real work. So I'm not worried about it. It's anytime you get a guy in the third, you get a third round receiver, that's when you should start being scared. Because third round receivers just don't exist in the NFL at all.
Let's see. There's still I still like Josh Downs, Shaheed, and MVS being here is really solid. I do still think we should go for a fourth QB though. What do you think?
What do we have left on the boards?
I think we could take a shot on Hooker as potentially going to get some draft capital. Like Heineke could play, Zappy. Like it's more of a shot play for sure, and it's not a must. Like if we have to roll with these three, I think we can. I mean, Jacoby would have been a good pick there if we could have got.
Thinking maybe Mike White even or Kyle Trask if we don't.
Yeah, we have Tyreek, right? So Mike White would make a lot of sense. Let's see. We still need to boost or bolster our RB room for sure. I don't know. This range of the draft is not that bad though. Like Banacanda's still here. I know you're hyping up Singletary a little bit.
I mean, Abikanda and Devin would be fine. I mean Zeke, as much as I hate how bad he looked last year, he could get plugged on some rando team. Which is
he's gonna play somewhere. Like he'll play goal line snaps or something. I mean, maybe I don't know.
Maybe they cut James Robinson. He ends up as a Patriot. I mean, like it's not far fetched when you think about it. As a Patriot fan, would you rather have Zeke for $4 million or James Robinson for $4 million?
I'd rather have Zeke for $4 million.
It's not the worst thing. Like I could think of more painful things in my life.
That's fair. I'd rather have Zeke than James Robinson. Don't draft Zeke.
He looked super slow. I was not a fan. Like I was watching him just running quicksand last year.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah. Stephanie would know as the Cowboy fan here. It's tough.
It's so bad. Or hear me out. My homie, he's still there. The one and only
Mike Gesicki.
No, Higbee.
I know. I was memeing.
I was like, are all the Higbee exposures because of me? Is that how this works? And it's like, we 8% Higbee, it's 8% of my drafts.
we took Higbee once.
Fine.
I would rather go. Where does Fant go?
Fant goes a lot later. He's in like Dead Town.
I like both. I like both of those guys. I guess we can wait on Fant. I think Sean Tucker's interesting as a rookie running back shot.
Oh, snaps. Thanks, Vapor, for pointing that out to us.
Oh, appreciate that. That's sweet.
150.
Do you like Sean Tucker as a shot?
Yeah, let's grab him. Let's grab Devin. I think Devin has a role. Like I was joking about it, but I do think he has.
It's a tough click for me. But like you said, we need to make up at RB here because our wide receivers are just ridiculously strong. Appreciate that, Vapor. Yeah, matches. We can't get any more subscribers. These matches are our name.
We thank you guys for hanging out with us, though. I know these streams going over an hour. It's maybe tough for some people. We're basically the equivalent of a long movie. So hanging out with us for over an hour and a half is really awesome. Like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Share with your friends if they're getting to best ball because
absolutely.
Good friends give them good content at the same time. And us, we're never trying to steer you out of your money. We're not saying, oh yeah, we would do this and then not do it. I show my exposures online every other week.
Yeah, Davis actually takes Najee and Tyler Higbee that much, as much as I think it's disgusting, but he does it. I mean, it's his drafts.
That's what I do. But at least it's coming from like a real space, not from like, oh yeah, I'm totally helping you guys and doing something different.
All right,
I remember when I released my article, one of the drafts I took was literally everyone on my article, and someone's like, oh, it looks like somebody read his own article before his draft. And I was like, I'm not lying to you. Like, these are my guys. These are guys I take. I went on like 4 podcasts last year and said DK Metcalf on every single one of them. They were like, "Who's your guy?" You have to do like a 5-minute snippet or something. And I was like, "It's DK Metcalf." And like DK Metcalf, DK Metcalf, and all 4 of them gave me crap on their podcast, and they moved on. They were like, "Oh, I don't think he's right, but it's what he said." But so
One share
about this.
One share of Zeke in both contests combined. That's
They're like half a Zeke.
I took him a couple times, I'll admit, in the big board because he would fall like 20, 30. I mean, legitimately, I took him once 30 picks after ADP. And so I was like, you know what? There's a chance he gets on a team and has a goal line role, so I'll take Zeke here.
I don't think I took any Zeke yet. I have to double check. No, I don't blame anyone that does because the logic makes sense that he's going to end up on a team. And I
it's kind of like
the
Leonard Fournette as well. Like he's going to play somewhere, right? Like it's gross, but that's one more than
I'd rather not have running backs. I would rather not have running back, honestly.
Than have Leonard Fournette.
Yeah, I would rather like take a pop shot on like James Robinson or Pierre Strong or Dearness Johnson, Gus Edwards, and anybody else before I take Leonard Fournette. Leonard Fournette's like the bane of what I hate about fantasy football, where like people point to like his 100 targets where he's like out in the open. They're like, look, he got 100 targets, and he's just like in the flats. He's Mike Davis, man.
That's all running backs do, though, is go out in the flats.
But that doesn't make him a good pass catcher. People would say he was a good pass catcher when he really wasn't.
But he caught a ton of balls those couple years from Brady.
He caught a ton of balls does not mean he's a good pass catcher. He caught a ton of
but I mean, I'm not worried about breaking down the film of his catching, even though I do that with Travis Etienne, who's not a natural hands catcher. Hot take, but
yeah, like I said, it was just one of those things that just like really irks me, and I'm like, no, that's not how that works. Because when they do change teams, it does matter, and I always point to Mike Davis for this. Like when Mike Davis left Teddy Bridgewater, it was a bad day. Oh, what about Hunt?
Yeah,
I think Hunt's a pretty good pass catcher, but not in the same concept of like Eckler level. But he is better than a lot of other guys.
How much of him have you taken? Because I actually haven't taken him that much. I thought he was going to be one of those quick signings. Like some team's going to like, oh, let me go get Kareem Hunt. Like it seemed like he had a lot of momentum and then just nothing. And so
he looks slow last year.
I'm worried about that pick and Kareem Hunt in general.
He looked slow last year. I just wasn't into him. I can never take him. I think I took him a little bit 2 years ago or something like that, like 2% or something. 1 year, one of those years. I just never thought he was better than Chubb. I did not think it was remotely close.
Will he get signed somewhere? Probably somewhere. I think, like he's still relatively young, isn't he?
28.
Yeah, I don't know. He'll probably be on a team. I would be surprised if he's not on a team.
If I got that right.
But as far as having a role, not sure about that.
Oh, got that wrong. He's 27. I don't know. Does he make a team? I'm sure. But does he make the team to be a starter? No. I don't even know if he makes the team as a handcuff. He could probably be like the 2.5 back somewhere.
See, I think this makes sense. Like he had a lot of momentum. Like I think it was a popular narrative to think that Hunt was going to go somewhere and have a role. It just didn't materialize. All right, Fant's a must for me.
That's
here.
Fine. I mean, we could take Fant and another tight end.
I kind of like Conklin. I like Jelani. Mike White. Mike White.
Zach Evans?
You want to go Mike White as our 4th QB with Tyreek?
Yeah, let's just grab him. I was gonna say I'd let you like Zach Evans. We gotta grab Zach Evans there.
I think this makes sense because I think we need one more shot at QB upside. Not even upside, but like
especially if our third is Anthony Richardson. Like we need to buy time.
Mystery box lid. So with this, I saw some galaxy braining. I don't remember who I was listening to, but they were bringing up the Chiefs. Like they're like, Lenny is not dumb, right? Like he waited his time, got to Tampa. And I feel like at this point in his career, he's only gonna want to go to. It's like, I mean, what if Cincy brings him in? It's just like, they take a rookie and stuff like that. The Dolphins started QB at round 18. Nice. If Ben's on that one.
He's a good backup though. Like as a Dolphins fan, I'm excited for Mike White.
Yeah, I think it makes sense to anyone who drafted him. Right when the big board dropped, there was a lot of like talk and momentum that, Hunt's gonna get scooped up by the Dolphins or by the Broncos or something, and it just hasn't happened. Weirdly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just it's a weird situation with him.
I know part of the issue with Hunt was that he had like some weird like behind the scenes stuff. Like he was bitter about being
No,
in
he got
the
like
Browns.
he got some domestic violence stuff, I believe
That
too.
too, like he just has
Yeah.
a lot that comes with them, and I think a lot of he, like I said, he's just not a superstar, so teams aren't willing to like deal with it. So I don't know, maybe he just doesn't get signed, or he just ends up like silently on a team.
This year's
Fournette could
Rojo.
be a Chief though. Actually, that makes a ton of
Like
sense.
this year's Rojo.
I mean, he could. He's a good pass blocker. He knows football.
And
Like as a
I
football
still think I think he's
player,
better.
solid.
Like I think the pass catching he showed like would give him enough credence
Yeah.
for a team to think he could do it.
His ability to execute is good, right? He may not be the fastest dude on the ground anymore, but like he's still big body. The ability to execute, run a game scheme, and plan, like those veteran level running backs, like that's what they like. You know, can you pass block? Can you catch a pass where we need you to? Can you sell a screen? Can you do those things? And Leonard Fournette can do all those things.
Right.
It just when he catches it, he moves at 2 miles an hour. But other than that,
I mean,
it's
also,
fine.
I like he goes so late too. Like, I don't think it's that big of a deal to
No,
pick. I mean,
not a
he's
bad
going the
deal at all.
17th round. I think he's going to be on a team, you know. So I don't mind sprinkling him in if you need, you know, an extra running back or something. Like, I don't think it's the worst.
I personally just
wouldn't-
can't do it, but it makes
That's
sense.
fair. I mean, look, I can't, you know, pick Najee in the 3rd round, but
I don't take him in the 3rd, okay? I took him in the 4th. Give me a break. All right. Watch when he goes up the rankings, you know, and he's like showing these amazing camp, people are gonna come back. They're gonna
No.
be like, man, Najee in the 3rd is not so terrible. At end of the 3rd, it's not so terrible. Look what happened to Saquon. You know, people were all on Saquon. He was going 3-1 last
honestly,
year.
though, it's hard for running backs to even prove anything like in camp because there's not physical, you know, like receivers can go out there and have flashy catches and one-on-ones and burn DBs, but like, you know, teams just aren't practicing that hard at like
Saquon's
11
camp
on,
was actually good looking. Though.
11 on 11 and stuff. So I feel like it's kind of hard for them to pop off like that.
Maybe they play the Hall of Fame game like Josh Jacobs, you know, and then that's how they show up. They go into the Hall of Fame.
I've heard this too, like that, the kind of thing. Me mentioning KC wasn't out of nowhere. Like I think it would make a lot of sense because as much as we love Pacheco and I think he's solid. He at the end of the day he was a 7th rounder. You know, like I feel like teams are less committed than, you know. I feel like we as fantasy players sometimes just assume like, oh, Pacheco proved he's the starting running back and like that's what it's going to be.
He also fumbled a bit too.
Yeah, like I mean, I'm not picking Pacheco. I think he's good. Like he's a fun player. But I think sometimes we overvalue like that type of thing.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about Pacheco. I haven't really taken him. I do think he's likely the starter up until this point.
I think he is too. Absolutely. Even if they bring in Lenny, I think Pacheco takes the first snaps. But Kansas City is kind of like a little bit like the New England where they just always have that committee of guys.
I mean, I took a buttload of McKinnon last year, so I was stoked for that when he went off. But I we'll see. I think Lenny could be there. Like I said, he's very much a veteran that knows how to play football, and I think that's going to help him get on teams. You know, like that's kind of like Jamal Williams, right? Not a flashy guy, but a guy that just knows how to be a coach's guy. And Lenny's in that borderline.
I agree.
I'm trying to think of. Anyway, what do we need right now?
I think we need to tack on one more tight end, and then a 7th RB probably.
We're back to the 3-7-7-3. All right.
It's gonna be a 4-7-6.
6-3.
I like Jerome Ford here. I don't mind just doing the McKinnon thing again and hope he goes back to KC. It's a little, or Dwayne McBride too. I think he's interesting. I think NFL teams are gonna like him more than the fantasy community does.
How do you feel about Darnell Washington? Just the fatty tight end.
He's a beast. Yeah, I'd love to pick Darnell Washington here if we get him. And I think him as like a rookie guy, like you can envision him getting those goal line touchdowns a lot more than other stuff. Like, which of these running backs? I'm Ford or McBride, but I could be talked off of that.
Pick the one that you want. I think I'd probably go with McBride over Ford.
Yeah, I think there's maybe a slightly better chance like McBride stumbles his way into a starting role or something. It's very unlikely, but
Have a good night, Ben. Thanks for hanging out.
Good night. Yeah,
I'm glad we
thanks
got
for
the
hanging
second
out.
draft pick
Appreciate
for
it.
you, man.
I'm glad we picked the Dolphins starting QB for you.
Also, you had to take Zach Charbonnet from us. That's cool though. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's whatever, man. We could have
This is
really
a-
used that for this
This is a
team.
solid team. Like, obviously the QB room is scary when you're going against teams with, like, our guy Sam and the one has Josh Allen and Kirk Cousins. Like, that's pretty scary.
While we're on the Zach Charbonnet a little bit with our Brian Robinson on screen, have you ever seen like how the comparison is? Like, who's like Charbonnet is like another Brian Robinson, and like everyone talks so highly of Zach Charbonnet, but at the same time they're like, but I don't like Brian Robinson, but he's like Brian Robinson, and it's like
Charbonnet is way better pass catcher though.
He's a better pass catching version, but it's like that's the idea they bring about him. It always cracks me up because it reminds me of that Family Guy scene. It's like it could a boat's a boat, but a mystery box could even be a boat. It's kind of like so Zach Charbonnet. It's like it could even be Brian Robinson. Like that's how I feel about it. It's so random, but that's how I was cracking up.
I think it's a solid team. Like, yeah, I don't know. Our running back room's a little scary, but we took volume there. I don't mind that. Maybe even we could have taken an 8th and skipped out on Mike White, but I kind of like having him as that shot.
Oh, I got a question.
Yeah, favorites, late round rookie RB and wide receiver after round 15.
Late rookie RB.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a look again. I'm forgetting like off the top of my head and stuff.
Zach Evans
was a Banacanda for the longest time, but now you can't even get him.
Was a big one.
Yeah, you can't even get him that late.
No,
Marvin Mims. Yeah, Marvin Mims for me is a fun pick.
He's a rookie running back though, right?
You said both.
Oh,
rookie running back and wide receiver.
Wide receiver, I'm a less in on, but I would say like Banacanda and then Zach Evans, because I feel like a lot of people bring up that he could walk into a very strong role this year, even if it's a secondary.
Jaden Reed is a fun player too at wide receiver as a late target, but even Tillman, I don't mind him. I know that who was it, Zerline or like one of the guys had him in the first round of a mock.
Tank Bigsby was another one too that was going really late. Also.
Yeah, I'm in on some Tank Bigsby, but
those are all tough because we're at this part of the draft. These guys are all like pop shots with most likely a secondary role,
right?
So they're not my favorites by any means, but those are the ones I would have to target. I mean, other than that, I'm targeting a lot of Gus and like Kelly, guys that are slightly more established.
Right. That's fun. I'm glad we got to do a couple SuperFlex drafts together. Kind of get that. I don't know. Yeah, because we have some different opinions on the way to build SuperFlex teams, and I like them.
Well, we at least lined up when we got to those parts of the draft. We lined up, all the picks were nearly the same for the most part. We have some differences on some receivers and tight ends. Just throwing out there my tight ends. But the team turned out pretty good. And like I said, I turned the corner on Richardson, all right? So you can't get mad at me no more.
I'm
changing.
Finally.
Right? Oh, yeah. I'm still not taking him in big board right now, but we'll see where he ends.
Well, yeah, you're not taking him in big board. That's close. Smart.
The next big board, but like if he goes on the top 100 picks, I'm gonna be like really annoyed. Like I'm not sure how I feel about like top 100 on a guy that isn't drafted yet.
Yeah, it's tough. I don't know. That's a good show though. That was fun. I'll be back this weekend and probably Saturday night with the late night drafts. Gonna do a pretty long stream, I think, Saturday night. Probably dive back into the NBA streets as that's winding down. We're getting more certain of the seeding because I plan to hit the dance pretty hard once it's becoming more official. So, yeah, I'm excited to do that.
Thanks for hanging out, guys. Thanks, Terry. Thanks, Vapor and Ben and Steph and everybody else. We had a lot of viewers today, so I'm stoked.
Yeah, appreciate everyone hanging out. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, throw a like and subscribe. It really means a lot. Keeps us motivated to keep doing this. And yeah, thanks for hanging out.
Bye.